They're metabolically inflexible, which is the very adaptation that is part of what makes us human in many ways, you could argue.
Yeah, perfectly. Yes. And yet the cancer field says, oh, cancer cells are so flexible. They're so versatile because you're always giving them fermentable fuels. As long as they have fermentable fuels, they'll appear to be very tough. And,
So
and
you said something earlier. So you said the ketones. I want to ask. So sort of pound for pound, if you're giving a cell ketone bodies as opposed to glucose, how is how much ATP can be produced from the ketone bodies, molecule for molecule, compared to glucose, and how much reactive oxygen species are kicked out when you use one substrate versus the other?
okay, let's our bodies will make ketones in the liver. So you will mobilize the triglycerides out of the adipose cells, and they'll go into as insulin goes down, glucagon, the hormone that triggers the mobilization of fats at adipocytes, goes up. So our bloodstream starts to fill up with triglycerides. You can see it on the TLC plates. We did it, and those triglycerides then go to the liver, and the liver takes the two glycerol backbones and can make a glucose molecule through gluconeogenesis. But that level of glucose is just residual because the brain will suck up like a vacuum any available glucose. So and then the it's like putting fatty acids into a wood chipper. The liver chops them up into water-soluble ketone bodies, which now circulate through the bloodstream and go to all tissues that have adequate oxidative phosphorylation. So where are we getting our energy from? Is a ketone body. Now let's get back to why the ketone body is such a powerful fuel, and because they have more carbon-hydrogen bonds than does a pyruvate. And now I'm going to explain this to you. So we get more reducing equivalents, NADH, out of a ketone body than we do out of a pyruvate molecule. So we're producing the fuel for a greater amount of fuel for oxidative phosphorylation by burning a ketone body, number one. Number two, ketone bodies deliver all their electrons to complex 1 with very little being delivered to complex 2. So we create a more oxidized coenzyme Q couple, which leads to an efficiency. That proton motive gradient will go up ever so slightly without they do not uncouple. So ketone bodies do not uncouple.
So you're saying ketones, if you're on a ketogenic diet, your body's using ketones, that promotes greater coupling in the mitochondria.
Yes, a 28% better coupling than pyruvate. Now, people will say, well, why don't you burn fatty acids? Because they have a lot more carbon-hydrogen bonds than does the ketone body or the pyruvate. And what happens is they create a very steep proton motive gradient, almost like then the body has to release the pressure. So they automatically turn on uncoupling proteins naturally. So they dissipate the proton motive gradient, reducing the delta G prime ATP hydrolysis. Even though they have more carbon-hydrogen bonds, it's too steep. It's too steep, and the body they naturally open up regulated uncoupling proteins, thereby reducing the efficiency of energy with a fatty acid. The ketone body does not uncouple, produces very few oxygen radicals, and has more carbon-hydrogen bond does the pyruvate, thereby calling it a super fuel. For each breath of oxygen you take in, burning ketones, you get more power from that bioenergetic efficiency of a ketone body. This is unbelievable. So this allowed us to survive the most harsh conditions of famine and droughts and all this because we're able to shift from one fuel source to the other. And our brain is naturally capable of burning ketones. They burn sugar, they burn glucose, and they burn ketone bodies. But we are capable of transitioning our nervous system over to ketone bodies. So that keeps us alive and functional.
So some people argue, well, if you give the human body, glucose and ketones, if you give it carbohydrates and fats, it will preferentially burn the carbohydrates, and therefore that's what our cells want, and that's the better fuel supply. What do you make of that argument?